Before sewing the lining to the shell, we will sew the side seams on the lining. With the right sides facing in, we fold the lining like this, matching the edges. Pin in this direction, matching the top corners. Then fold at the notch here at the bottom and pin. Now pin in between. Repeat for the other side. Here we have a 1.5 centimeter seam allowance. Start with a reverse stitch. Continue to the bottom. Finish here with a reverse stitch. On this side, we will leave an opening to be able to turn the bag right side out after joining the lining to it. Measure 10 centimeters down from the top and pin mark. Then we will have an opening of about 15 centimeters. Measure 15 centimeters from this pin and pin mark here. Remove these other pins. We want to sew this section and this section. Sew from the top, starting with a reverse stitch. Finish here at this pin mark with a reverse stitch as well. Now start here at this pin mark. Reverse stitch and sew to the bottom. Finish by reverse stitching. Now we need to press open the side seams of the lining. Press the seams from both sides first. Now place the lining on the ironing board like this to press open the seam allowance. Repeat for the other side. To form the corners, we place the lining on the ironing board like this. Then bring these two tailor tacks to the edge of the fold lines. Press like this. Now we align our ruler on these tailor tacks and draw a chalk line. Pin in this direction. Repeat for the other side. We can press the pocket right now as well. Now we will sew a seam line along the chalk lines. Start here from this tailor's tack. Reverse stitch and continue. We make sure the seam allowances stay flat and open as we sew over them. Finish at this tailor's tack with a reverse stitch. Repeat for the other side. Remove these tailor tacks. Next we trim the excess fabric, leaving about 1.5 centimeters for the seam allowance. Repeat on the other side. Now we will sew the lining to the shell. The shell has to be right side out and the lining right side in. Place the shell inside the lining like this. We open this fold and place the handles inside. Then match the side seams on either side and pin in this direction. Next, we match the midpoint notches and pin. Then we pin in between like this. Pin in between once more. Here the seam allowance is also 1.5 centimeters as indicated by the notches. Start here at one of the side seams and sew. Make sure the seam allowances stay open as we sew over them. We finish by sewing over the starting point by about 1 centimeter to secure the thread. Now we remove these tailor tacks from the wrong side of the shell. We need these tailor tacks, but we will trim the knots. Repeat on the other side. We turn the bag right side out, through this opening on the side seam of the lining. Now we need to sew this opening closed. Pin here about 1 centimeter above the opening, and here about 1 centimeter below the opening. Then pin in between. Match the edges and pin in this direction. We start sewing at the top pin. Sew a few millimeters from the edge. Do a reverse stitch and sew to the bottom. Finish here with a reverse stitch at this pin mark. Cut the loose ends. Next, we will reinforce the handles at the top of the tote bag.